Hey guys, welcome back to Fun Fiero. I'm Andy.
I'm Liz.
Guys, we're here to share our fun, love, and passion for all things Disney with you guys. So thanks for hanging out with us today. If you're brand new to our channel, please consider subscribing.
If you like the video, give it a big thumbs up.
Yeah, so today we are doing a Disney transportation versus video.
Alright, so Disney transportation versus Lyft versus a rental car.
Yeah.
And our thoughts on kind of how each one of those went, except we didn't rent a rental car.
Yeah, so throw that one out. But we did do the Magical Express, and that is socially distanced.
Which was a great way to get to the parks.
It was a great way to get to the resort, the parks. Yeah. I mean, it just, it was just as magical, just way less people.
Yeah, way less people.
Yeah.
And we had to go get our own bags. No big deal.
All right, but let's just jump into the Disney transportation or Lyft. What do you think?
Well, our first transportation experience was the gondola.
Yeah.
We hopped on that. The gondolas are our favorite. They're kind of fun.
Yeah, I love them.
It's one traveling party per car.
Right now, yep.
And the gondolas, they move a lot of people quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
Okay. And Disney has had some experience with the gondola system now, so it was just flowing.
Yeah, very efficient.
So it seemed to be the least impacted mode of transportation, I think, is what I would have to say for the gondolas.
We were there on a holiday weekend.
Which was great.
So the Sunday, right, which is usually the busiest of a holiday weekend, is that Sunday. And that was actually the kind of the most bogged down that we've seen it. And the reason is not because of the gondola system. Ooh. It was working great. But since COVID, it's only one traveling party per gondola.
Plus, at that time in the morning, you had people getting to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and we were all flowing through the same line because that's the only way that they could keep it socially distanced with the way the station is made.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was what it was.
It was what it was, but the thing is that was kind of a one-off. It normally doesn't take an hour to get from Pop Century to Epcot on the gondolas.
We did it on Tuesday for comparison, and it was
half
way,
the time.
Yeah, it was about a third of the time.
Okay.
It just bam.
There you go.
We were.
So I thought it was still a great mode of transportation overall. Coming home when the parks were letting out, I thought it was just
yeah, it was no problem.
No problem.
And we weren't in any hurry to dash out of the park either. So
no.
So yeah,
That's true.
So we leisurely strolled out of the park and then got on the gondolas, and it wasn't like a huge line.
Now, what about Disney buses?
Disney buses. We tried our first Disney bus the first day that we were there, taking it to Disney Springs. It was weird.
There's a lot to remember, and we're going to tell you right now, guys. It's not a ton of stuff, but it's very specific stuff that you need to remember about the Disney bus system right now.
Mm-hmm. First of all, they are like small, lower capacity.
Oh,
you have seats marked off that you can't sit in. There's dividers in between some seats where you can't be socially distanced. Nobody's standing up on the bus.
None.
So that
No.
filling all the available space is not a thing right now.
No.
Which was weird. And you can't take a bus from the parks to Disney Springs. You can only take buses from the parks to the resorts. So when we were waiting in our resort to go to Disney Springs, the line behind us backed up. Now, what does Disney do in that instance? They call more buses.
Yes.
But they're having trouble finding bus drivers.
Right.
So we didn't have to wait. But you always have to wait for a Disney bus. So it wasn't. It didn't feel like we were waiting like a huge extra amount of time. It was just weird once we got onto the bus.
It's just that when you look at how many people are in front of you, and you know that in normal circumstances everybody could have gotten on the bus, but you missed a bus, and so you get the next one.
That's where it gets a little weird.
And it's not, and they haven't called all the other buses yet. That was kind of a problem.
That's kind of weird.
But just remember, with Disney buses, they do not run from resort to resort.
No, they don't.
And they do not now run from. You cannot do a park or park to park or park to Disney Springs.
No, which you've strange.
Yeah, it's just that's something that only from the park to the resorts.
Which makes sense.
And only from the resorts to a
Disney
park.
Springs.
Or Disney Springs.
Or the parks, yeah. The ferry boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loved it.
We rode the ferry boat into the Magic Kingdom the first day that we were at the Magic Kingdom. And it didn't feel empty.
Oh no!
You had green dots on the deck, so you were socially distanced. Mm-hmm. I felt just fine with that, and I felt like they got a lot of people on the boat.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
those are big ferries.
Those are big boats, and it was very smooth and very seamless.
Yep.
We lucked out because we got into line and we got on the very next ferry boat, so we didn't have to wait to get a second ferry boat or anything like that. I thought it was great. Love cruising across that water and seeing Cinderella's castle getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And they loaded people to the top deck first, so they had a line for that top deck, and then bottom deck was in another line, and then those people went on.
Disability access, everybody was on that first deck without having to go up the stairs for those guys.
They made that very fluid. I mean, I think that system almost should stay in place throughout, because they loaded people on there super smooth.
Fast. It was really great. Yeah. The monorail, okay, when we monorailed the second day that we were at Magic Kingdom, they have a plexiglass to separate the two sides of the car.
Almost like a mat.
Yeah, it's like a mat. It's like a real heavy plastic.
Yeah.
And in one half of the car, you have two families. You're sitting on the benches. There's nobody standing. There are only two parties in that half of the car, and then two parties in the other half of the car. You're separated by that plastic. It felt like they had more people moving on the monorail than they did the buses, and less people moving on the monorail than was on the ferry boat.
There you
go. So but the monorails were going. They definitely had a lot of monorails running, and so you still didn't take very much time to get into the park. Super nice. Okay.
Yep.
We didn't do a rental car.
No.
If you do a rental car, you have to pay for the rental car. You have to pay for gas. You have to pay the $15 to $25 to park per day at your resort.
It just depends on which resort you're staying at. However,
if you do pay that, you don't have to pay to park at one of the parks.
So that's new.
But when you park in the parking lot, there are no trams running.
No.
So you will start your 6 to 12 miles a day walking from your car to the entrance of the park.
Which is like a quarter to a half a mile.
Yeah, depending on when you park, and they're socially distancing the cars in the parking lot.
Yep.
So you're totally going to be safe when you get out of your car and not have to worry about somebody else being right there. But you may be parking far away.
Now, here's the thing that we enjoyed using the most, and that is Lyft.
We did. It was an extra. We averaged $7 to $15. We never went above the $15 mark for a Lyft, and that $15 was for the bigger car.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And that includes the tip.
Yep.
Alrighty. So it was very economical, and we only did it in the mornings. And we did it to get quickly to the park without having to worry about how many buses will this bus take to get me there, or how many gondolas will this take to get me to this park.
Right.
So it was super convenient. Hollywood Studios, it was the best.
Oh, yeah.
Because they opened Hollywood Studios an hour early, and we were in line at like 8:50, 8:55 and walked right in. So it was the greatest.
And I loved it getting to the Riviera for our breakfast. So that way, that was kind of our relaxing day. And so we got to sleep in just a little bit and then just catch a lift over there instead of getting on the gondola, switching up Caribbean.
They weren't running.
That's right, yes.
That's the reason we took a lift that morning, because they weren't running yet. And we still get to sleep in a little sketchy bit. But I'd say, as far as all the transportation, I felt safe on every one.
Yes.
I think the gondolas... are beating everybody hands down as far as the moving of the people and to keeping everything flowing. And then I think Lyft is picking up the slack, because some folks are just going ahead and doing lifts. They don't have to wait in line for the bus.
Yep.
That's,
There you go. That's what we did, and they did a great job, and I would definitely do it again.
Absolutely.
I mean, things are different during COVID, and I don't mind waiting in line, but I do mind waiting an hour just to get a bus to go somewhere.
Which is then you're
it's
going
like
to have to take it over there.
I'll pay $10 to $15 to get there, and 10 minutes. So there you go. But to each his own.
And comment down below if you've used Lyft, and have you been to the parks here recently? Which method of transportation did you find the most convenient? Yeah.
So thanks for hanging out with us today, guys.
Give the video a big thumbs up if you like it.
Yeah, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But until next time, get out there, have some fun, and we'll see you on the flip side.